Good morning, everyone. Today was one of those mornings I woke up and the thought occurred to me, wow, right around this time 3 years ago, I did my first 40-mile hike slash walk non-stop, and today I want to tell you all about it. So, the reason this started was about 3 years ago, my daughter was going to deploy to Afghanistan, and me being the proud father and whatnot, I decided, hey, I want to do something special, kind of to honor that moment in her life. So I decided, why not do something that we both enjoy doing? And that's spending time in the mountains. One of her favorite stores is Bass Pro Shop, and the other thing is spending time in the mountains. So I decided I am going to hike 60 miles backpack, 60 miles from Lake Arrowhead down to Bass Pro Shops in Rancho Cucamonga. Now, I knew I had like 3 days to do it. I thought to myself, no problem, 20 miles a day, I'm used to that, no big deal, I can do it. This is where the adventure starts. So, the first thing I did is, it was going to be from point to point. So I decided I was going to park my vehicle at one of those carpool areas right off the 15 freeway. There's a CHP and a Caltrans area there where they just share the lot, and I decided to leave my vehicle there for 3 days. And from there, I Ubered up to Lake Arrowhead. When I got to Lake Arrowhead, we went to the far side, I would say, I guess it's the north side, and I was dumped off right there near the trailhead, about 5 miles away from Deep Creek. So I'm making my way down to the PCT trail, because this whole hike is going to take place along the PCT trail. I make my way down to the PCT trail after sliding down some screes, which was in and of itself another story. It's kind of wild there. But make it down to the PCT trail. By this time, it's probably, I want to say right around 6 p.m. or so. Get on the trail, start walking, get to the bridge right where Deep Creek is, that famous bridge that people see who are hiking along the PCT. It's very colorful. It goes from one end of the creek over to the other. And as I get to the other side, find an area to camp at for the night, and I'm ready to go. I get my pad, I lay it out on the ground right in front of the creek, and I am ready to go. I am happy. Walk over to the creek. It was awesome. You could literally stick your finger in the creek, wiggle your fingers, and the fish would come up to your fingers. It was something I'd never experienced before, but it was certainly a treat. And the other thing, because Deep Creek has some hot springs in certain areas, it was kind of warmish water where I was at. Anyways, laid down my pad, no shelter, just straight star shelter is all I had. Go to bed. Wake up the next morning, it's like, all right, we're going to push through all the way to Silverwood Lake. Man. So, it's not a big deal. It's probably, that day is probably going to be a 20-mile day. So we get to hiking, and by this point, I'm not even paying attention to my GPS, because it's almost in that section, it's almost impossible to get lost as long as you stay on the trail, which is the PCT. So I'm making my way, and I'm starting to get to some point where I'm like, man, I gotta be near Silverwood Lake. And I'm hiking and hiking and hiking, and I come up to what I see, this spur where you kind of go around the bend of a mountain. I'm thinking, it's gotta be on the other side of that. Hiking, hiking, hiking. I'm getting excited. The anticipation is kind of building up. Get right as I turn that spur, and I see more hills and more mountains, and I'm just like, a little bit frustrated, I'm not gonna lie. So whatever, suck it up, keep going, keep going, keep going. I see the next spur. All right, it's got to be there. Hiking, 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 hit the edge of the spur, waiting to come around that corner and see Silverwood Lake, the dam. Come around the corner, more mountains. Some of you that have hiked, I know you know what I'm talking about. You get to that point, you think you're almost there, you come around the corner, and all you see is just more trail and more mountains, and you're like, oh my gosh, when is this gonna end? And I was fighting every temptation to look at my GPS to see how much further I had to go. So I'm hiking, another spur comes around. What do you think happened? That's right. Except this time, I'm looking, I come around this spur, and I see off in the distance where the trail goes, it's just a steep climb along one of these, the sides of the mountain. I'm all like, oh man. No choice. I hit it. Boom, 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 boom. going down the trail, and I'm just going up and up and up. And by this time, I don't know. I have no idea how long I had been hiking, but it was starting to warm up because it was in June. So I make it up to the top of this trail thinking it's got to be on the other side of this mountain. I get up there, nope, doesn't happen. More trails. Eventually, I kind of just put it out of my head and I just kept walking, kind of just ignoring, threw my headset in and just started listening to music as I'm meandering down the trail. And sure enough, at one point, I round this spur and boom, there's the dam right there, right in front of me. I was relieved because that's where I was going to stay the night. So, come down off the backside of Silverwood Lake. You see, it's beautiful. The dam is right there. Follow the trail. Now, this is the tricky part because without looking at my GPS, it was a little bit confusing where the PCT picked up from that point. It's like you kind of come down to the bottom and you're at the base of the dam. You come down to the bottom of the hill and you start like, okay, where are the markers that tell me that the PCT is over here? You know, after walking back and forth in a couple directions a little bit, I finally found one off in the distance and I just hit it. So now I'm climbing up the trail and I get to the top of the dam, and this is where I decided to pull out my GPS, and I'm all like, oh wow, that's a lot of trail. So I hit it. Just start walking. Boom, 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 boom. Finally get to an area I'm like, I'm just gonna relax for the day because this is supposed to be a 3-day trip. So we're into the I'm starting to wind down. This is like this. Actually, it was supposed to be a 4-day trip. I'm sorry. So we're starting to wind down. I get to the back end of Silverwood Lake, and I just decide I'm just gonna camp out, and I settle in for the night. And by this time, I'm tired, but not completely beat up. But I just decide I'm not gonna set up a shelter. I seriously don't care. I mean, I've camped plenty of times underneath the stars without a shelter. I'm not too afraid of the the reptiles and whatnot and the rodents at night. So I just find this grassy area. I look around and I'm all like, wow, okay, there's rodent droppings here. So I start doing the math in my head. Okay, well, you know what? I have a pad. I'm just going to lay on top and just go to sleep and not even worry about it. And that's what I did, guys. I just found a grassy area, threw my pad down, went to sleep for the night, had an amazing sleep, and that was that. So I wake up the next morning, and I'm all like, this is awesome. Now, by this time, overnight, some clouds have moved in, all that June gloom and all. Some clouds have moved in. And now I start hiking I get it back up on the PCT, start hiking out of Silverwood, and I'm hitting the base of the hill right around where the group areas are at Silverwood Lake. And I just start climbing up and up and up, and it's awesome. I'm excited because today I am going to get from Silverwood down to the 15 freeway, which from where I camped inside Silverwood, it was going to be like 20 miles. So I start going up the hill, and I get to the top of the hill, and I just overlook the high desert, and it was probably one of the most beautiful sights that I had seen because the clouds had moved in. It formed these layers of shadows on the hills that just rolled, and they were just layered one behind the other behind the other. It was probably one of the most beautiful sights that I had seen. And the crazy thing about this is I had gone along the 15 freeway because I know the 15 freeway was back there somewhere. I had traveled that 15 freeway to and from California to Las Vegas many, many times. And I just never was able to view this from this perspective, and I was just awestruck. I was captivated. So I'm just like totally taking it in. I'm hiking along and I'm just enjoying it. And as I drop down into the high desert side, now I'm starting to come up in some of these ridges. That wind was so crazy. You felt like at times you were going to get blown off the ridges down, 100 feet below or whatever, however distance that was from the top down. But I just kept moving, and it was awesome. And I come around another ridge and get up on this ridge line to the top of the hills, and that wind is howling, and I'm walking and I'm holding myself, and this dust is kicking up, and I'm holding myself, and just at times I'm getting shaken by the wind, by a gust of wind that's so strong. But it was awesome. So I'm hiking along, And I don't know how far I'd gone by this point. I just following the trail. And I come around a spur. And right when I hit the turn on that spur, I was stopped right dead in my tracks. Right in the middle of the trail was a big German Shepherd. And I just froze. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what in the world is this dog doing out here? The weird thing is that dog just, as soon as I hit that turn, that dog just whoop, just snapped up, ears went up, and we were like, both shocked each other. It was crazy. So we sat there looking at each other for what seemed like an eternity, but it was probably like 2 or 3 seconds. And then I hear, "Come here, boy, come here, boy." Like its owner was way down there, and the dog turned around and started wagging its tail and took off. And oh man, my heart, like, I was not ready for that encounter. I was just like, yeah, I don't know what I would have done. I literally come around that spur, and I'm telling you, that dog was about 15 feet from me when I hit the turn. And we just startled each other. Anyway, after exchanging some pleasantries with the owner, blah, 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 this and that, I just carried on down the trail. So now I'm getting down. Now I'm to the high desert side where Silverwood is. I'm on the high desert side. So I'm coming down. I get down to where the creek is running. And, I refill my water bottle a couple of times. And now I'm just hell-bent on getting to the 15 freeway. That's where the turnoff is, where people just either they continue on the PCT or they cut off and they go to the McDonald's that everyone jumps to. And that was my plan. I was going to go to the McDonald's and just have something and, and just figure out where I'm going to stay the night, just jump back on. But I get to the 15 freeway and I look and I'm all like, oh, you know what? It's only 10:30, 11. I'm going to push on a little bit. So I decided I'm going to go underneath the 15 freeway. It's pretty awesome. I mean, the trail angels had already been there. They had left water containers for people that were hiking along the PCT. It was pretty awesome. I get to the other side and I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to start looking for an area. I'm going to hike out a little bit and start looking for an area so I can just settle down for the night. And, from there, the next morning, I'll just make my way to Bass Pro Shops because I got to deviate. I got to jump off the PCT and take the streets. Now, so I get up on the other side and I'm looking around and I'm hearing the traffic from the freeway just buzzing by behind me. And I look around and I just see trash everywhere. And now I get disillusioned. I'm all like, oh, the noise, the trash. I'm just like, I can't do this. And now I have this thing going on. It's only 10:30. Do I push on? Do I find a place? Do I push on? Do I find a place? I can make it, this and that. So now I'm trying to convince myself, do I just keep trying to hike and make my way to Bass Pro Shops? Now, if I was taking a vehicle, it'd tell me to jump on the freeway. And Bass Pro Shops is right around 20-ish miles or so from where I was at. But because I was walking, it was actually longer because I can't walk along the edge of the freeway. So it's going to take me down through by Lytle Creek, overshoot the 15 freeway so I can find another street. It goes underneath the 15 freeway so I can find another street that shoots me back over an overpass. And it just added more miles, bottom line. So I'm looking around. I see this trash. I'm disillusioned. I hear the traffic noise. I'm looking at my watch. It's 10:30. And I convince myself to push on. So I'm like, okay. I turn off the GPS for the mountain route and I turn on the Google Maps. And I click on footpath so it can calculate a path over to Bass Pro Shops. Oh. So it's telling me that the road that I have to access, I don't even remember the name of the road. The road that I have to access is right up over these berms. So now when you walk underneath the freeway, I'm down in this washy area. The railroad tracks are not too far in front of me, but there's berms. There's these 8-foot berms that, I don't know, 70-degree pitches, but they're only like 8 foot high, right? So I'm like, okay, no problem. It's telling me to go this way. I'm going to scramble up one of these berms and go. These berms were made of sand. Just over the years, that's just what it's turned into, I imagine. So I start trying to scramble out of this berm, and I can't. And I'm looking at the top edge, and it's just out of reach, and I can't scramble, and I can't get a foothold because every time I dig in, I start to slide down. I dig in, I slide down. I dig in, I slide down. And the more it happened, the more frustrated I got. And the more frustrated I got, the more it happened. So now I'm just like, oh my goodness. I shit you not, it felt like I was there like 10 minutes just trying to scramble out this little 8-foot berm that was made of sand, and I just couldn't get out. Eventually, after just clawing and digging in and sliding and going, I managed to inch my way to the top and go. I'm telling you, that was probably the hardest thing I did the entire trip, was just trying to get up that 8-foot berm. Anyway, I did it. I pulled it off. I got on the trail and I just kept walking. And we have to keep something in mind. But at this point, my whole experience on the trail has been dirt and gravel and some soft soil at times and whatnot. But now I'm starting to get on the road, and I can't walk on the road, so I walk along the shoulder. And as I'm walking along the shoulder, the closer I get to the edge of the road, I'm starting to realize, oh wow, this is really hard soil. So I got to get back deeper into the shoulder. And now it's like, I really got to stay off of that edge right where the road is at. And so I'm going deep into the shoulder, because the closer I get to the edge, the harder the soil is compacted, and I can feel it. I can feel the vibrations just like going up my calves, going up my shins. The bottom of my feet were hurting, and it just hurt. So this went on for a long time, and it just, I'm trying to stay off in the deep end of the shoulder, and it gets to a point where that deep shoulder, that shoulder of the road starts to give way to more paved area. And I have no choice, but I got to start walking this. Now, by this point, I've already walked over 20 miles. And I'm just starting to walk, and now I have to hit real road, real sidewalks and everything. And it hurt. Everything hurt. I mean, it wasn't so much that my hips hurt or my thighs hurt. It was my shins, my calves, and especially the bottom of my feet. It's just like with every step I took, it was just like vibrations just going up through me. And it just hurt because of how hard the pavement was compared to the soft soil that I had been in and out of. Well, and even then, the compact soil was still softer than the asphalt. So I make my way going up and down the streets, and I don't know, I'm 30 miles in, and I'm just like, oh, I'm tired. Now I'm starting to wonder, why in the world did I do this? I didn't realize the asphalt was going to have that level of impact on me. So I'm asking myself, why did I decide to do this? No matter. Now I'm at the point of no return. What am I going to do back? Am I going to camp in somebody's backyard? That didn't occur to me at the time, but you know what? Maybe I should have tried to do something like that. Anyway, so airplane, sorry about that. Anyway, so I continue to walk, and now I'm just tired. My legs are hurting from my knees down. It's just hurting. And I pull out my GPS, because at this point now I'm going in through neighborhoods, and I got to figure out where I'm going. So I come out of these neighborhoods, and I forgot what street I'm on, but I'm starting to walk down the street, and I look off to my right, and I remember seeing these radio antennas, and I was just like, wow, that looks familiar, except I couldn't tell what it was. I couldn't make out what it was. No matter, I still keep going, walk, bop, 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 walking, and I see these radio antennas, and I'm all like, really familiar. I gotta be close. Sure enough, my GPS, Google Maps, tells me to go down that street towards the radio antennas. Not a problem. Start walking. As I get closer, guys, and I'm telling you, by this point, I'm 37 miles in, and I'm beat up. My legs are beat up. My feet are on fire. So I get closer to these radio antennas, and like the blood starts to drain out of my face. I'm all like, no way. I realize those radio antennas are connected to the CHP station that are connected to also the Caltrans lot where my vehicle is parked. And my GPS unit just took me in that direction. So as I'm walking, I mean, I'm starting to go a little bit numb because I just can't believe the coincidence. And sure enough, there I see my vehicle. And now I'm tired. So now you know what's going on through my head. I'm tired, I'm beat up, and it's just like, oh, my vehicle's right there. I can literally walk over to my vehicle, get in, and no one would ever know. And I could just say I did the whole hike and boom, because I'm already 38 miles in by this point. And man, I'm telling you, good angel, bad angel. Sitting there debating, should I just jump in my truck? It's right there. And I'm walking. 100 yards turns into 50 yards. 50 yards turns into 25 yards from my truck. And the temptation was just too great. And I'm just like, oh, I can do that. I can do that. It's, who's going to know? Who's going to know? No one's out here with me. I'm hiking by myself. Who's going to know? As I'm walking down the sidewalk and I'm parallel with my truck, I'm looking. And then that voice in the back of my head reminded me why I was there. It was to honor my daughter. And what kind of honor would I have if I accepted defeat, being only, I imagine at that point, 2.5 miles from Bass Pro Shops? I just couldn't do it. I just, like, literally, I wouldn't be able to wake up in the morning, look at myself in the mirror and say, I did it. And in fact, if I talked to my daughter and told her, oh yeah, I went all the way to Bass Pro Shops, knowing in the back of my head that I just couldn't do it. So I'm walking, bye-bye truck. That right there was demoralizing, to see my truck so close, but I have 2.5 miles to go. Oh, put my headset back on, turn on the music, and I just start walking down the neighborhoods. I look at my GPS and I'm all like, I'm close, but I'm hurting. My feet are hurting. And at some point, it tells me I need to go through this area that has these transmission towers through this big swath of land that cuts right through this neighborhood. So imagine this swath of land that just probably extends, I don't know, 3-4 miles, whatever it is. Huge transmission towers. So you have homes here. This is the backside of the homes. And they have a backyard, and then they have a fence separating their backyard from that swath of the land where the transmission towers are. So I'm told to go this way, except I walk up and I'm all like, my GPS is telling me to go this way, but there's a chain link fence here. What do I do? So I'm looking around, trying to debate what I do. And as I'm looking around trying to debate, I look slightly off to my 10 or 11 o'clock position. And I'm like, what is that? I see a guy behind one of the homes, had jumped like one of the property fences, and was squatting right there, taking care of business. And I'm sitting there and I'm all like, oh, wow. So I'm turning around. I did not need to see him fertilizing the ground. I'm turned around this way and I'm just like ignoring him. And when I turn back to see if he is done, he's looking straight at me. And now it's that moment like, sorry, didn't mean to look. And at that point, I just, whatever, take off my backpack, throw it over the chain link fence, climb over the chain link fence. And I just went, as soon as I did that, the guy must have been way too embarrassed, cleaned himself quickly, picked up his pants, jumped over the fence, and just headed into that property. He must have been a gardener or construction guy. I don't know. So now I have to live with the sight of that in my head. I literally come up on somebody fertilizing the ground. So I trudge through, try to push it out of my head, and now I'm just walking and my feet are hurting. But because by this time it's all sidewalk, there is no edge of the road where I can get on some softish ground, and my feet are hurting. So I'll never forget, I'm going through these neighborhoods. My GPS is winding me through these neighborhoods. And I come to the corner of this neighborhood, and it's going to have me swing left. I come to the corner of this neighborhood, I turn, and about 100 yards in front of me, whoa, Bass Pro Shops. Home. I am home free. My heart just like, oh, this is so awesome. I felt such a relief. And so the plan is, they have a really cool restaurant inside Bass Pro Shops. I'm going to eat. I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna eat, and then I'm gonna call an Uber to take me back to my vehicle because I really don't have any interest in walking back 2.5 miles. So I get to the Bass Pro Shop restaurant. I swing the door open, walk straight up to the hostess and said, I just walked 40 miles. I came from Lake Arrowhead. Today's 40 miles. I'm tired. I'm stinky and hungry. Please put me in the back in a booth away from everybody because I don't need them smelling me. And she starts to laugh. And so she takes me back to the back, gives me the menu. And one of my favorite things at Bass Pro Shop is the alligator bites. And they have this green sauce, which is delicious. So she brings down the alligator bites with this green sauce, which I don't know what it is, but it's delicious. And then I place my order, and it's a big, giant hamburger. I don't remember the name of it. Giant hamburger and fries, but I'm still hungry. So I order another one. So now I have two complete, guys, hiker hunger is a real thing. I had no idea how hungry I was until I started eating, and I couldn't stop eating. I had two big giant hamburgers with fries and the gator tenders. So now I'm like, oh, now I'm feeling great. I fulfilled myself, and I pull out my phone, call up an Uber on my phone, and I'm just waiting there. And when you call up an Uber, you can kind of see where they're at, and I'm all like, oh, he's getting near. I'm gonna get up and go meet him outside so he can take me back to my vehicle. Guys, second I try to get up, I couldn't move. I was stuck. That short amount of time I spent eating, like I had stiffened up and I couldn't move. And it took every ounce of energy just to get up out of the booth. And I'm all like, I gotta get outside. And so I'm struggling. And then I get a phone call, and it's the Uber guy. Hey, I'm outside. I'll be right there. So now I'm in a hurry, but I can't move. And so I start walking out, and I'm waddling like I had just gone number 2 in my pants because everything had stiffened up, everything hurt, and I was just like, oh my gosh, and I'm waddling, and I'm doing one of these, and I'm hitting, and I go out the door, and I'm waddling to the Uber. And I was embarrassed that he might think that I had actually gone to the restroom in my pants, so I explained what had happened, what I had just done. I had covered 40 miles in 12 hours, my longest day ever. So he drives me over to my vehicle. I say thank you. I try to get out of his vehicle and I can't. I'm stuck. I can't move. I'm stuck. And he starts laughing and I start laughing. And the more I laugh, the more he laughed. And now I'm just literally steps away from my vehicle and I can't get there. He got out and he helped me to my truck. I got in. I went home, took a nice long hot shower, went to bed, and I thought, I am going to be destroyed tomorrow. This was like, for some of you that have done a heavy leg workout there, you know that the next day is going to be bad. And that's what I thought was going to happen. Next day, I wake up, I get out of bed expecting to fall. Nope, I was good. It hurt, but not at the level that I thought. And wow, that was my 40-mile day. What an experience. That was my first time I had ever done such a big mile day. 12 hours, 40 miles. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the story. If you did, please consider subscribing by hitting the link down below. And while you're at it, head on over to our Facebook page and follow us there. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your support. And until next time, I'll see you on the trail.